Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Lucy Wilson, care founder and host of the Liberian View. I want to take this time to again welcome our guests on Facebook and YouTube and to extend our thanks and appreciation for joining us in this very important discussion. And for those of you who have not yet joined us, we are asking you to please join us with your questions, your remarks, any comment at www.facebook.com/the Liberian View or www.youtube.com/at the Liberian View. To participate in today's discussion on the topic, a look at Liberia's recent election as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council after 46 years. The Liberian View strongly believes that this election or return will have a significant impact on Liberia's international reputation and domestic governance. Thus, the focus of this discussion will include, but not limited to, the historical context of Liberia's participation in the United Nations Security Council, the significance of Liberia's return. How can Liberia utilize this election for its own growth? The United Nations Security Council election process and diplomatic strategies that were used to make sure that Liberia was successfully elected. Liberia's priority issues and their policy agenda. Any organization you join, you have your own priority. And you look at the agenda of the United Nations and then see how that fit within your own agenda. Liberia's capacity and resource challenges. Those are the things we're going to be talking about. Liberia's peacekeeping contribution and experiences, Liberia's prospects and challenges ahead. And lastly, what does this role mean for Liberia? Because as I stated, we had some folks, we had the president and others really celebrating, being happy. And when you look at the comments from people after they view it, people were saying, we ain't even got money, we hungry, and the people dancing. So Liberia V thought it wise to come today and share some views, some highlights, and look at what this means for us so that at least we can provide some insight for people to have some clarity and some form of education. I hope you will tune in and want to say thank you. Now, having said that, I'd like to give the time to our panelists, wonderful panelists that are on this platform today. They should have been having rest, sleeping, or maybe gone out, but they saw the need to come and help to aid and support our people back home and even in the United States. And not only the United States, but in the diaspora, for us to have a clear understanding and free discussion. You can send your comments, your remark, your concern. What does this mean for Liberia? You can help us, aid us in asking the question. And I think we have, I will let our panelists introduce themselves briefly, 2 minutes. And after that, you will hear from our own Mr. Kokba Wowo, who will start the discussion on the historical context of Liberia's participation within this great organization for 2 years. So we'll start with our own Mrs. Anita Kane to briefly introduce herself, and we'll move on.
Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Mrs. Anita Kwikanen. I'm co-founder and CEO of Elunet Global, and I'm a permanent panelist on this show. Nice to meet everyone and looking forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
So we'll go to Mr. Felix Wilson.
Good afternoon in the U.S. and diaspora areas. Good evening in Liberia. It's a pleasure to share this platform with all of these distinguished guests and our moderator, Madam Kier. My name is Felix Wilson. I live here in Woodbridge, Virginia. A family man, married with 3 children. Have a business degree, an MBA, 25 years of contract administration, program and project financial management, a philanthropist at heart, strategist, and of all like to be known as that Liberian Peking with mad love for Liberia. Look forward to the discourse this evening.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Dr. Collins Vay.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in Liberia and in the diaspora. I'm really excited. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Liberian View for inviting me on this platform and to sit with these distinguished guests. I'm really honored to be here. My name is Collins N. Vay, a son of the soil from Liberia, here from Nemba County. Uh, I am recently completed my PhD in engineering and computing education at Florida International University. But before this joining, from the University of Liberia, where I completed my bachelor degree, took up faculty role teaching at the College of Engineering. I'm really excited to be here. I have my specialty in technology integration, specifically information and communication technology in engineering and STEM education. Over the last 10 years, I've been really involved into that space as well as capacity building for young people across Liberia and even in the diaspora where I am right now at Florida International University in Miami, Florida. I'm really excited to be here today and to have this conversation. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Collins. And we will be discussing a look at Liberia's recent election as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. The next panelist will be introduce himself, and I would like for him to also just briefly give talk about our partner, the radio station that is translating this discussion in Liberia. So I will give you the opportunity to briefly introduce yourself in 1 minute to talk about the radio station, Mr. Kappa Wowo. The floor is yours.
So my name is Kokwa B. Ward, here from Grand Bassa County. I live in Philadelphia. I have known Madam Wilson here for a couple of months, but I'm happy to share this platform with everybody. And I want to greet all the Bassa people in Grand Bassa County and the rest of Liberia. If you can notice, the phone number is already been posted by Ablige TV. Ablige TV is one of the most talked about and most informative platform, both online and also have a radio station in Buchanan of Grand Bassa County. They've been operational for the past 10, 15 years, and they are well known. And I want to say thank you there, guys, for at least we inform you lately, but at least you were able to come out to read in this program. So we want for people to interact with us as we go through this process. Thank you very much.
Okay, we want to say thank you. So Mr. Coppa is going to be our first panelist to speak, and he's going to be giving you briefly the historical context of Liberia's participation in the United Nations Security Council 64 years ago. Mr. Kokwa, the floor is yours, and we want to say thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Kia. Again, Liberia has a very rich historical participation in global governance. There's no doubt. We all are aware. For our listening audience, we have been in the business since 1945. Why did I say that? Liberia happened to be one of the founding members of the United Nations. And so we are very happy that you understand this position where we come from. Besides that, the first African female president of the UN came from Liberia, Angie Brooks, and everyone knows that. We have been in peacekeeping effort since 1960. For those of you that don't know, Liberia contributed peacekeeping mission to Congo, highlighting our role in international security. It is documented and known that Liberia have been involved with the African Union and regional organization. We have been involved with ECOWAS and the rest of the world. So becoming member of the UNSC or United Nations non-permanent resident, not permanent member, is not strange to us. What is strange to us is we are now operating in a new environment. The position we had before those days, time have changed. Technology have changed. People orientation have changed. My thinking, serving for a limited period of 2 years is very short, but Liberians need to understand. Liberians need to understand that this is not a position of bluff. It's a position of serious business because we will be collaborating with other members to address global challenges. We will be contributing to determining international policy and decision. We have to promote national interests while contributing to global peace and security. So the insinuation that Liberia is now situated on the UN as a non-permanent is not just for joke. And I am sending this caveat to President Joseph Numa Boaka. Whosoever he will appoint should be a very serious-minded person because it is now time for Liberia to showcase her expertise. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator.
So I want to take this time to say thank you for that. And we ask anyone on the panel that would like to contribute towards the historical context, and they can do so now. That was a strong message to the president and his team that this is not an easy task. And to the Liberian people that we've been there 64 years ago and we are actually returning. And so what does this mean for the Liberian people? Anyone on the platform can
Yes,
can
Madam
chime in.
Chair. I would just
Go ahead,
quickly
Mr. Wolf.
add to what my brother said. It's been well established, as he stated, the historical context with which Liberia's relationship with the UN is and exists today. All right, one of the founding members and have contributed immensely over the years. And I don't think the argument or question, anyone can question the contributions of Liberia over the years to the effectiveness of the United Nations. The records are there. I think where the focus should be is how prepared are we to function today in a way that will add value to the UN's missions, but more importantly, benefit the people of Liberia. As in any organization or any environment, when you are called to the seat of the table with the deciding nations or deciding leaders, you have an opportunity to not only influence that body, but to make sure the body you represent, the constituents you represent, benefits. And I think in order for Liberia to fully fully benefit from this new position, right? It's not only to bring value to that role with suggestions on world peace and unity and other factors, but the country itself, the government must have had a plan, right? They must know what they want. They must consider regional geopolitics within its borders, all right, and then expand out, and then also look at, okay, how does my interaction with the big five of the world benefits what my country needs. How can we utilize this relationship, right, to gain inroads, to bring in development to our nation, which is desperately needed. So the good news is we have a seat at the table. The challenge is, are we prepared, or how prepared are we to benefit from having a seat at the table? Thank you.
Just
Yes.
Thank you so
to,
thank you so much, Mr. Felix Wilson, about the good news. But
Mhm.
then the challenge is how much what can we do? What can we do with the opportunities that are given to us? Are we prepared? But the good news about we having a seat at the table is one thing is like you're knocking a door. So I think anyone that want to comment, you can go ahead.
I will go to
Yes.
Dr. Collins. Go ahead. After you, then I'll come.
All right, thank you very much. I just want to comment on the historical trend of Liberia and our contribution. So I know that our country has an undeniable historical impact when it comes to peace and peace building across the world in Africa. We all know, stand as one of the founding members of the United Nations. But my own, connection with the pride of Liberia across the world was in 2017 when I had the opportunity for my first international travel to go to South Korea. As a student then from the University of Liberia, I had the opportunity to attend the War Education Forum. So when I went there, there was South Korea has a big museum, and in that museum, they were explaining their liberation, I think from the Japan, you know, uh, from Japan, something like that. But they have Liberia as one of the only two countries, are still to be corrected, from Africa that really supported their liberation, that peacekeeping mission. And I was standing in that hall with my flag. I still have the picture today, and being so proud of Liberia at that moment. So it just, this conversation resonates with me, especially as it relates to our country contribution to peacekeeping in a movement across the world. But what really is fascinating at this point is the fact that from being a post-conflict nation under United Nations sanction because of the Civil War to now holding a seat at the United Nations Security Council. I see this as a full cycle narrative for us, Liberia. Like you rightly said, it is the time we back on the table. We have a seat on the table, and I think it is now time for us to again rewrite our chapter, that we're written before, and to really contribute to the world peace, but also, to really look at ourselves and see our journey, how it has been and how we can position ourselves, because we need to reflect everything we're doing out there to the world. That reflection needs to be really seen within our culture, within our society, and that light can be, shown out there to other countries. So I feel like it's a full cycle moment for us, and I'm really looking forward to what the country, our government, our leaders have to, to do this time around. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I like what you said. From a civil war to a seat. Because we have 5 members
Mhm.
at that United Nations Security Council, and we've been a part of that 5, and then from civil war to all the challenges that we faced as a country, but we were favored. The processes that were used, the diplomatic strategies that were used, but yet we are at that seat. But as you stated, what can we do with such an opportunity to better ourselves, looking ourselves internally, what we need to fix? Because now I want to say that we are at the center where people, I mean, we were there before 64 years, 64 years ago, but now we are there and people are looking at us. What is happening in your own house? So we will give the opportunity to Mrs. Anita Kane for her own perspective.
I mean, everybody here, they have said it all. But a couple here have said we were there before, we were founding members, and we held this position before as well. But back then we had different group of people who were leading the country. Their school of thought and everything was different. Right now we have different generation that is here. We are, I don't know, I'll say Gen Z. We believe we some of us are very complacent, but I want to know our objective as a country. Why did we fight and invest this money that we don't have to actually get this seat? So we should have a plan to go to say, okay, we want to get back on this seat because this is what we want to do. Liberia image around the globe. Some have been known, Liberia have been known now as a center for jobs and corruption is at the head of the table. How can we rewrite our story now on the world stage to make them look at us and say, okay, everything that we have heard about this country, about Liberian being this, Liberian that, well, they have had a seat on the table. And in the last 2 years, as a member of the non-permanent UNSC, these are the legacy. We have done A, B, C, D. We can have great influence. We can even rewrite our story in the next 2 years if we are determined, if we have a goal, if we go there, if we are intentional to do so, we will do so. 2 years that he said is very short. If we don't have a planner, it's about time the government actually we send our brightest team, put them together to develop our strategies, to come up with our goal, how we're gonna, do networking, how we're gonna be there, the peace and security that they're talking about. We cannot be pushing security and peace on the outside world while we're killing our own citizens on the street. We cannot be preaching good governance, transparency, accountability on the outside world while we're stealing all our country resources and enriching ourselves. So everything that we're going to be preaching on the sea, we should practice it ourselves. So I think the next 2 years, we can use that message to transform our nation, transform the way we govern, transform the way we lead, because we'll be leading by example. So that in the future, when we want to come out again to take this 2 year, people will say, oh, yeah, the last time Liberia here, they see what they did to, okay, they strengthened their good governance process, corruption was minimized, people were prosecuted for human rights, drugs trafficking, and all of that will be labeled. It will not be your past performance that they're going to use now to say, okay, we can trust Liberia again. They did this, they did that, we can believe in them, we can respect them, we can trust them, we can give them our vote again. So our time and effort that we are put into this down to rewrite our story cannot go in vain. If we don't tell our own story, nobody's going to tell it for us. So now we have had a chance in the center stage, in the presence of the entire world, to rewrite our story. Our appeal to the government will be to go there with a plan. We should not get somebody that's just going to wake up, whatever they wake up with or see on the internet is what they're going to do. No. As a country, we need to have a strategy. We need to know how to implement that strategy. We need to have a goal to implement in the next 2 years to make us to be, respected, to make us to be remembered when we were on the seat again in this new dispensation. I will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kane. Why did we focus on being a member and why did we lobby and went all around? I think those are some of the questions people are asking. Why did we do that? And how can we use it to rebrand ourselves and make ourselves better? And not just to send somebody because they're part of your political party, but to send the brightest of all at that particular table, someone that will represent the Liberia, who thinks Liberia, speak Liberia, and want Liberia to survive. Mrs. Scanner, that was very, very good point, because you can lobby and other countries trust you. You may have your own political reason why you were elected, but once you're there, you're representing Liberia. So I would like for us to a little bit focus on, I think we talk about, Mrs. Kane talked about why did we focus on it, and what should we be doing? Why? Because if you focus on something, so this is what you want. What's the purpose? What's your goal? What did you want to achieve within the 2 years? What are some of the priority issues that and what is on our agenda as Liberian and our Liberian government? What are they thinking about? Who they're going to send there, or who have they already sent there? Can the person represent Liberia? Because this is no time for any political partisan stuff. This is a time for Liberia, because now We are on the stage that people are looking at us, as Mrs. Kane rightly stated. So, what are some of the priority issues and policy agenda while we sit on this platform talking? What are some of it that we can put out there for the president or the president, vice president, their team can look at, and when anyone else is viewing this particular discussion, they want to know about what are some of the priority issue that Liberia has. They've seen, they've contributed to the past, or what did we do 64 years ago? Because I know a lot of people that were there 64 years ago, either we killed them or they died. But I'm sure we have our archives that we can look up. What are some of the things that we did good? Our representation at that time, was one of the best. Are we doing the same thing? So I think let's go around and talk about some of our priority issues and just put out there, if the president is watching or someone is watching, to see what are some of the policy agenda that we need to discuss on this platform, so that the president of Liberia, if they're watching, they can see and then at least listen a little bit. Anyone can chime in on that.
Yes, let me jump on that. But before I make my point, uh, I wanted to share with the platform and to our public. Last year, I wrote during Liberia's independence, our Independence Day. It was a heat in the heat of my dissertation. I felt inspired to write a poem. That at the time under Liberia peace and leadership, the pain we've been through, that we vision from the Civil War, our perseverance, and then the promise that we have. So that the poem was actually entitled "A Glorious Day Will Come." And I wrote that poem last year. I share on my various social media platform. But I want to read just one stanza from that poem. And it is in part 4 of the poem that I said, 20 years of peace, a silver lining in our story, 3 rounds of peaceful democratic transition of power, our country's glory, a testament to our resolve, our unity, our might. In every ballot and cast in every heart, this is our Liberia heritage. This is our time. And as I go on within that poem, sitting here today, everything I wrote in that 6-part poem, I see this conversation we're having to be one of the glorious days, that I've imagined in that poem. However, it is a time for us to really rethink about how we can make opportunity of this day that we have, the seat that we have. And as we think about our agenda of what to do at this point, there's one thing that really comes to mind. And the first one is to really use this. If we answer the question, what agenda can we put forth, to the world, or as part of our position there, is to continue our peace, building and conflict prevention process. I feel over the last 20 years, and since the end of the Civil War, we've had 3, democratically elected government, peaceful transition of power, and we have seen. I know that transition has not been without suffering, without tears, without disappointment in the lives of other family members. But we stand today as a true reflection of the hard work that everyone has done in the past years. And I think getting back on this table just tells us, Liberia, how the 20 years of peace that we have shown out there, especially peaceful transition of power between our 3 presidents. This is the first time in my history, and I'm born to see that we have former president, former president, 2 former president alive that we can see, and in Liberia at the moment. I know Charles Taylor is not in Liberia right now. That's something like that, right? But I feel like this is a time for us to really continue that peace building and conflict prevention process. Help propose policy that will really, push the agenda of us putting to, our past behind and forging ahead. our true reconciliation, things that we do, our recovery plans on how we get here. This is a time that we can push forth this agenda to the world, especially at the United Nations, and be there for countries who are also going through similar process. Because a lot of countries around the world are actually right now in the state that Liberia was in like 20 years ago. And also feel like it's also a time to put forth our youth empowerment, women and empowerment, and all of that. So champion these things, because I feel over the years these are things that have helped us to reach to where we are. So continue with peace building and conflict prevention could be something that we can put forth, and then peace building, youth empowerment, and women, which are things I feel very much would be appealing to how we approach this opportunity that is given to us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Collins. It's very interesting that, and I say there's what they call divine connections when it comes to God. I believe in God, and I can say it anywhere. How this your perm intertwined with this discussion, and how you had a dream that there will be glorious deal. That glorious deal will come, to Liberia. That things will happen, and whether we want to take this lightly or not, for us to be elected is very significant to the Liberians, and I hope we are embracing it. Not only embracing it, but thinking, looking at ourselves internally and what we can fix. But we look at some of the positive things that we have done, like being a member, founding member, and the peacekeeping that we've done in the world. All those things that we are doing right now. Liberia has women empowerment and a group when they come against rape. Even sometimes the person is not right. Once a person yell rape, the man will be put in jail. Yes, well, that would not happen. You have no one to talk to when you're raped as a young person, as a young girl. But now, right now, when you do anyone come, if you're being accused of rape, you're gonna go to jail and you're gonna be persecuted. You're gonna go through the process and found either guilty or not guilty. So those are things that we are doing that are very positive in Liberia, and like the peacekeeping initiative contribution that we have done. So those are some of the things. I think those are very, very good ideas, Dr. Collins, that you said. And also, most importantly, we should push forward women empowerment, youth empowerment, young adult empowerment, and also to push forward our peace building capacity and our conflict prevention. Because if you look at it, it's good. I hope that the president and those that are supposed to utilize this information and make decision makers, that they will hear what you said or what is being said on this platform, because these are things that we've done. But have we sat down to really write it down, put it down constructively, so that we can be that subject matter expert in that area? Because sometimes you're doing something, you don't know how expert that you are the expert in that particular area. So I hope the president and the team listening can know that we have done all this. The transition Mr. Dr. Collins talked about, 20 years of peace and transition, peaceful transition of all the presidents and whatnot. I think that is a plus for us, and not just look at we look at our challenges, but then we should build our what we've done so well and rebrand ourselves in that way and position ourselves to be called upon. Thank you so much. I don't know where anyone else has a comment when it comes to our priorities and our priority issues and our policy agenda. If no one has anything to say,
Sure, I will quickly add, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Felix Wilson.
Yeah. So first, I want to remind us that the core mission, right, from the UN Charter, its core mission is to maintain international peace and security, foster cooperation, and promote social progress and human rights. So those are its core missions. And sometimes when you get, as a nation, a seat of this nature, in preparation for it, sometimes you can go overboard. My advice to the government is to keep it simple. When you look at its arrest agenda, I think It falls right in line with what most of the UN is about, right? And it can piggyback on its arrest agenda to what you call it, influence its strategy and the way it goes to negotiate or put forward suggestions for the Security Council to act upon, right? So agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism. Definitely rule of law, education, sanitation, those three areas are things that we can tie to a multitude of UN initiatives. And to piggyback to what my brother, the eminent son of Grand Pastor, Mr. Wallace stated earlier, right? From a historical perspective, I did some research and just want to highlight a couple of areas where Liberia was instrumental when it first served on the security as a member of the Security Council in 1961. As my brother rightly stated, Liberia requested a Security Council meeting on the crisis in Angola, right? That happened on February 20, 1961. Um, that's major, right? That that's an example of being aware of geopolitics, what's going on in quote unquote your backyard, Africa in general, and taking a stand, right? Because you have a seat at the table to implement bring forward a suggestion that will bring about peace in your backyard. Another example was in February of that same year, Liberia joined with Ceylon. Ceylon is the other name for Sri Lanka, right? To submit a draft resolution again on the same Congo crisis. So we have examples there of how we utilize our seat and our voice in the past, serving in this capacity. What I will offer up to the broadcast administration is that whoever is representing us, must be someone who's very updated, aware, and is immersed in its agenda, its arrest agenda, and must know exactly what the country, what it wants. More importantly, we must, again, this is not a small thing. The world itself, as we see it, is in a mess. We just saw, the U.S. entering the Iran crisis overnight, right? There is a major, major crisis going on out there that we will have to take a position on. And we have to be brave, we have to be bold, but we have to do our homework and come to the table because you can't just come and say, let's do this. It's all about how you present your position. Your position must be backed by facts, right? And by doing so, the members of the council would take you seriously. All right. So the history has been established. We have a seat. We have a means by which to move forward. And the person that's going to represent us must be someone who is well versed in the country's agenda to make a difference for the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. I mean, this is very, very important because we have to know. I mean, the UN core mission is already there that we've been working on. I'm praying and hoping that our president, amidst everything that he's doing, trying to build roads and whatnot, that they should really pay attention to who our representation, whoever is there. If they're not qualified, they can be recalled. But we need to really send somebody, as Mr. Wilson said, as Mr. Copper has said, and Dr. Collins, and even Mrs. Kane has alluded to that. What we're doing, what we did bad, and what we did very well, it's good to always look at your history, and then you can know where you're going. And I think that's what is being stated on this platform. We've done a lot. We have done a lot in the past. We can look at what we did, how we did it, and who we need to send there. And, like Mrs. Cannon said, the brightest of the bright, because we need to make sure that someone that can speak to those issues, not just go, you sign your name, and then you go for lunch and don't come back, and all those kind of things that used to happen years ago. When you're representing Liberia, especially this time around, it has to be a serious-minded person, a person that think Liberia, live Liberia, and love Liberia. It's not about you. It's about we're representing our country. And when we look back, look at how everyone talking about how we call a Security Council meeting regarding the issue. I mean, how were Liberia at that time? Liberia was capable, qualified people were there, and so we had a voice, and we can still come get that voice again. But you will never get that voice if you put someone there who is not qualified, who does not even understand the purpose and the mission of the United Nations Security Council, who cannot speak to issues. So that person need to be well read. So anyone else I want to make a comment, then we can move quickly to the capacity and resource challenges that we will have.
One quick comment, madam. You come in? Go ahead.
Yes,
Mrs. Connie.
Okay, whoever that we're going to send also, they like that we all have said, they should be well vested and educated. They should also be able to engage diplomatically. They should be able to build network, because diplomatic relations, we know what it is for the agency city government. All our credit had to be wiped out because of networking and understanding the diplomatic language, and which we lack. The CDC government lack that. They don't have that skill set. And we see this government also struggling with it because they don't want to reach out. It's not like Liberians are not educated. We have educated Liberians who understand diplomatic engagement, diplomatic language, but they are not partisan. So because you're not part of a political party, automatically your CV is not recognized. But it's about time that the government open their arm to look beyond their political party and reach out for the help that they can reach out with, ask Liberians at home and abroad. At this point, it all hands on deck. We would say, all hands on deck. We need to work it together, coordinate together to be able to get the result that we need. This time, it's not about political party. It's not about, this is UPT, this is CDC team. No, this is Liberia team. So Liberia need to carry her best. And we need to do it with opening our arms and allowing other Liberians, educated Liberians that are in the diaspora, to come. We are not, the sad thing, what making us to actually be in the position that Liberia is in right now. Liberia on the ground wants the same way in the Western Union. They do not want our technical know-how. They don't want that. If they see that, they call you disembreed. They call you this. You want to come and take this from us. So they made laws that make things difficult. That our brother here, that said that the Collins, he's educated, he this and that. He been in Liberia, he and how well. We all going to add you. We come from there. But if you return to your village right now and say, I want to serve because I see life differently out there, I think I want to bring it to my village. They're not going to vote for you. They will say, you don't know us. If I said you're coming from America, just because you spend short time outside of the country to improve himself, he becomes American. So Liberia need to change their mindset, number one. For all hands to come on deck, all hands need to understand everybody. We all have to go with one goal, one mission, have to open their mind. The closed mindset got our country to where it is. We're not plenty. The country is not big. We have too many educated people for our country to be the way it is right now. We have to open up. We have to embrace one another. We have to collaborate. Teamwork. Okay, that's what's going to make us succeed. Not political party. Not because I can't say. And I go on social media, I cost 25% me. I'm qualified to be a minister of information. No. Do I have the expertise? What have I worked? Do you have? We all know here in the United States, you have your master, your PhD. If you are not worked before, nobody hire you because they want the experience. We have a lot of people that have the experience here that can help the country, that can help to transform the country. But the limited mindset of some Liberian that say no, and we open up to all our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we will not have a job. For a third grade student to be a senator now, and there will be competition. So no, we're going to put a law that will protect the third grade student as compared to somebody who have all the expertise to kind of transform the nation. We need to get out of that box. If we get out of that box, the star will be our limit.
This is so good. Very good. Very, very, very good. We have the capacity, we have the resources, but our challenges will be, especially as you stated, this partisan. And, this partisan and this, you from America, those barriers are the one that are limiting Liberians. As Mrs. Kane rightly stated, we have qualified Liberians, President Boakai and our vice president. We have qualified Liberians, but the barriers are the fact that some of us came here because of the war. Some of us came here because we want higher education. We want to better ourselves and get a skill set that we need to go back. But if you go back, like Mrs. Kane said, there's no room for you, because those who are there who may not have the same skill set to build their own community, they will be a barrier for you. So how can we I think we had a discussion here, Liberians abroad and within Liberia, how can they come together to collaborate? I think we'll bring that discussion again, because we had that discussion. How can we come together to work together and respect one another? Even folks that are in the diaspora, how do you look at people in Liberia? We should respect one another, regardless of whether you are educated in Germany or in Liberia. We should respect one another, and there should be competition for position, and the best should always represent us, because representation out there. I remember 6-7 years ago, our representation was very poor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was very, very poor. I'm telling you. You go to Ghana, even if we go to meetings, we're not even at those meetings.
Not at all.
We either go somewhere else and we don't participate. So within those years, like we were nobody. I mean, can you imagine what we did 64 years ago and what we're doing now, even 50 years ago? So I think that aspect of you can be president even if you're not qualified, but then bring other people that have the skill set to do the job. So I think that's the area when we talk about our capacity and our resource challenges. That's the main area, Mrs. Kane, you just spoke about.
Yeah.
So do I have any one person I want to chime in on that, and then we move to the next?
Yeah,
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Coco.
Madam Moderator, don't forget, it's after 10 o'clock. If possible, we could open a line in between towns so people in Liberia can start questioning, or because people are now calling to say they want to ask some question. But here is my last thing on the whole issue today. I want to inject this representation of Liberia on this council is not just Liberian representing Liberia. Liberia is representing the African interest. That's number one thing to be clear. So we can think like we are going there as Johnny Paul or Josiah Brown or Kokwa Wowo like Liberia. And I don't want people to use this condition to start running campaign from 2020. I want to be straight. For me, I'm very strong when I'm saying something. People start making, friendship with country. I want to run to be president. We're not sending anybody there for that purpose. And I want to say this to the president and the vice president and those concerned, because I know the foreign minister will be on the committee. I know that our guy, Brandon, whoever is here for you, will be there. But we need people that will represent not only Liberia but Africa. We want people to inject the interest of Liberia on the world body. This is the kind of person we're looking for. We don't want Joseph Newman Baga to appoint somebody tomorrow. Then people have to have to withdraw that thing we have from the past. Since the government started putting people into power and they keep withdrawing them. If this happens on the international body, I want to say this without precondition. That would be a disrespect not only for Liberia, but disrespect for Africa. That's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Mr. Cummings, I think you can go ahead, and then after that, Mr. Copper, you can work with the folks for the line, and so they can start calling in. Dr. Cummings, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Copper, for Mr. Ward, for that point, and also Mr. Cannon. I think you guys deliberated very well on that. First of all, this is an opportunity that is not for a party, and I feel like you have given a very straight warning positively to our government in terms of putting aside party and really working in the interest of Liberia. But the point I want to really speak up to was what you said. This is not an opportunity just for us Liberia. We are looking at ourselves now, but this is a golden opportunity for us to represent our continent, given the trust that was given to us. For example, we were on a post in this election from West Africa. That is a huge trust that our sub-region has given to us as a country from West Africa. Go and represent us. This is the time. Ghana, Nigeria, all the guys are looking up to Liberia. And I feel this is really a time for us to really bring ourselves into the conversation. For far too long, Liberia has not really been in this different space. I'll give you an example. Quite recently, in Washington, D.C., I had the opportunity. I was invited to doing the World Bank and African Development Bank meeting, the spring meeting that just happened. I was invited to participate at a African Leaders Forum in Washington, D.C. I went at the embassy. It was held at the Ghana embassy. At that meeting, we have a lot of stakeholders from across Africa, different ambassadors from other countries in Africa. They attended that. What I witnessed there that day, I really want to share that because I walked, I was very speechless. So I met this lady. When we were talking, she was like, "Oh, you from Liberia?" I said, "Yes, I'm from Liberia." I introduced myself. She was like, "This is the very long time I've been in this African diaspora community for the past 20 years. This is the first time why that I'm seeing a Liberian at this city, specifically as we're talking about Africa and the U.S. relationship, strengthening that, right? Giving the country historical relationship with the U.S. I feel like Liberia should be leading the conversation in this." So she just said that, and well, Collins, it's good to see you and something like that. And it struck me, as a Liberian, I feel like, wow, this is it. This is, but I also understood what she was saying, and I feel like our misrepresentation for in the different things. Sometimes we are there, sometimes we are not. We are not in the house, but sitting at the United Nations seat is a golden opportunity for Liberia, especially that Ms. Cannon said. Mrs. Cannon said this is an opportunity for us to establish this diplomatic relationship, and people on that committee should really be people who have this country at heart and ready to steer the affairs of Liberia. And my plea to our government, His Excellency President Boakai and his team. I know kudos to the foreign minister for what she has done, or her administration and they have done for this process. But this is a time that we form a committee that will be very much inclusive, and a very inclusive committee that can represent us, party aside, people where we have we have the youth, we have the women, and we have people or a delegate or a committee that will really push our interest and represent us well, so that we in turn can represent Africa and also other countries within our economic status, like developing countries around the world will be looking at Liberia. But I see this as a golden opportunity, and it is really onto us, the country, to put Liberia first, think Liberia first, and really do things that will make people to see the impact that we have, to give to this international discovery. Again, it's up to whoever would be on that team, and I feel that we all said today, we agree that it should be the brightest of the bright minds, because that's the only way we can excel and redeem our 64 years of absence, at this stage.
Hey, thank you so much. What we're going to do now, we're going to give the time to Mr. Wowo. So if they can open the line in Liberia, that'll be fine. So we will take some questions. If you're talking to us, we're not hearing you.
Line is open to everybody, not only in Liberia. The number is on the screen. If you call the number here, people in Liberia will hear you. I try to get to the guy in charge, but I'm not getting. But he just told me that we can open the line if anybody want to call. If nobody calling, we can continue. But I just want to make sure that if we have a caller coming in, we can listen to them in between time, so we cannot just go. That's what I was saying.
That'll be fine. We asked them. I texted them to open the line, and we'll keep on talking. And we know that we're supposed to be closing by 6:30 latest. So if the line is open, somebody from Liberia wants to call, they can do that. We'll stop the discussion, answer the question, and move on. So now we're going to move quickly to I think I know we've talked a lot about this topic, and I think people will learn from it. Uh, we are hoping that the president also can look at some of our points and reconsider certain things, especially the subject matter aspect that will be sent there for Liberia, for Africa. They will be more equipped with what the ECOWAS and others are all about and our stance, the unity of Africa and why not. But somebody was asking a question. It's not from our comment area, but it states that what are some of the specific factors that contributed to Liberia's successful election to this particular council after 64 years? Because missed everything that was happening 8 years ago, and then to this 1 year presidency of President Boakai. So what really contributed to us being successfully elected? Anyone wants to chime in that? If we don't have the facts, we can't say anything.
Yeah, from I think our being on this, like I said again in that poem, our being here actually is just now 1 year of achievement. I feel like it's a collective effort. In the last 20 years since 2005, we had our election and we have peaceful transition of power. And I feel these things have built up for people to see us and feel like these are reasons why Liberia can be here. So that's the first time when we had this peaceful democratic transition of power, especially unprecedented when we saw last election when former President Weah conceded even before the National Election Commission could announce result. All of these things joined together to really give us this opportunity, readiness that people can confide in us, because we saw what was happening in West Africa and coup d'etat here and there, but for our president to do that at the time speaks volume. And I feel like that plus all of the things that we have done, 2000, correct me again, 2008 to 2013 or 2003 to 2018, 2003 to 2018, we have the United Nations Army Mission in Liberia. They were present there for a number of years, 2 terms for President Ellen Johnson. They were there. So all of what we have done, in terms of supporting that, upholding that peacekeeping mission, I think all of these things, they have paved the way for us to be at this table.
Okay.
For not being, for being unopposed during the election speaks volume of how our West African community really see us. And I feel like, something like that. I really don't feel like it's just 1 year of achievement.
Thank you so much. Do we have anyone on the line? Not yet. So we'll go to our next question. How will Liberia leverage its historical experiences with UN peacekeeping mission to advocate for reforms in peace operation? Liberia has done all these things when it comes to Angola, when it comes to, even requesting a summit on the resolution of what was going on in Sri Lanka. And so how will Liberia then leverage now, currently, this election? How would they leverage her historical experiences with UN peacekeeping mission to advocate for reform in peace operation? I know we talk about the agenda and policy agenda and our priority issues, especially when we look at Africa, the issues that are there. And Dr. Collins rightly stated, peace building and conflict resolution. So how will we now, the current body of our representation, how will we leverage this experience when it comes to peace building to this current stage, this current election?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just quickly say, Madam Chair, if you look at the record, uh, Liberia received 181 out of 187 votes. That's downright significant, right, and impressive. It speaks to um, the confidence that the general body has in Liberia ability probably to be neutral and to bring value to the peace building process that the UN stands for. And I think part of that is because of our contribution over the years to peace building efforts, our efforts at rebuilding a democratic society, as well as our willingness to send our troops. Remember, just recently we were serving in Mali, right? We had troops on the ground serving as a part of a peacekeeping mission in Mali. So we don't just talk the talk, we have a history of walking the walk as small as we are. And so I think all of that gives us leverage, right, to come to the table and to be heard. And it's important for us to take advantage of that leverage. I just wanted to quickly piggyback on, again, what our eminent brother from Grand Bassa stated earlier, the importance of the fact that we are representing Africa interests and not just Liberia's. That's important, but one of the things that, I like to always look at the elephant in the room, and we tend to, at these forums and stuff, talk a good talk about what should be done, what shouldn't be done. But at our core, right, one of our cultural weaknesses is the fact that as a people, we are very self centered. We, um, for lack of a better word, we are selfish, right? We don't work together well. And that's the elephant in the room that we need to conquer if we're really going to move forward as a nation. And the reason why I mentioned that, because it speaks to why someone would use these opportunities to position themselves for the next presidential election or, legislative election, right? When they should rather be focusing on Liberia as a whole, Africa as a whole, right? It's not for personal aggrandization or to build up your resume for that factor. Nobody say you can't use that when that time comes. But at the moment, in the moment, we should seize this opportunity to better, have a real impact on bettering the lives of people around the world. Most importantly, seeking the interests of our African brothers and definitely of our own, our Liberian brothers and sisters. So I hope that will be the goal and the approach with which our administration takes this role as we move forward.
Thank you so much. Yes, I know what Mr. Wowo said regarding this is about Africa, but I always believe strongly like you have to first fix your house or anything that is in your house. If your roof is leaking, you cannot say, I'm going to rush first and make sure that the African Union, ECOWAS, their homes are fixed, because you are now an example of peace building. You are now an example of conflict prevention. Whether we like it or not, Liberia is an example based on what has happened through these 8 years. We are an example, the transparency, the peaceful transition of power, all those things we've built, we are an example, like Dr. Collins said and everyone said on this particular platform. So looking at that, how will Liberia utilize its position on this United Nations Security Council to advance the African Union and ECOWAS objectives?
So, Madam Moderator, it's so easy. It's easy said and done. And I want for Liberian to listen, and I want him to listen very, very carefully. It is now time that Liberian takes leadership. Liberian and Liberia, we must take leadership role that will suggest that we initiate and lead resolution. But here is the catch 22. If we cannot resolve issue in our own backyards, going to the international community, we must rethink. We must debate the issue. We must take the initiative. Liberia must build coalition. They must foster alliance with other member states to promote common interests that will help Africa to be the continent we want it to be. It is not about Joseph Newman Boakai or whoever is in leadership, it's about Liberia. We must take leadership, we must exemplify the good and the bad part, and we find a commonality and do well. Because if now, yesterday, we had legislative crisis, we're not going to take that kind of issue to the UN Council. People will not respect us. We should be able to contribute to factors that will make informed decisions. Liberia must engage in diplomatic outreach. We must strengthen our relationship with other countries internationally. Civil society groups, Lucy, you know it and I know it. Our civil society in Liberia is dead. And I don't want to miss my word on that. I'm not even sure what we have civil society group in Liberia because we don't even hear about them. So if Liberia will be engaging in diplomatic outreach and strengthening relationship, international organizations, they must be able to build the capacity of their own social groups, civil society, international organization, human rights. Where is our human rights record, for instance? Let's review our human rights record since the last 2 terms in government and up to now. Where are we? So I just want to say this to us. We must take leadership role. It is time that Liberia should be able to be the Liberia that people want to see on the UN Council, and not just somebody to go and represent because they have some interest, they are UPist, they are CDC, or they are brother of the president, or they are cousin of the vice president, and they are in America and they should be appointed. That should not be the way we should go. Thank you, Madam Coordinator.
Thank you so much. Anyone else wants to chime in?
I mean, just to add to that, that's what we're saying today, that we need to all come together collectively to actually, I would say, prep whoever had to go, to have a strategy, to have the know-how of how we're going to achieve all of that. And Liberia, if we narrate, if we able to tell our story, like, for example, we know that the stupid 14 years crisis that we went through, because of that, nobody can talk about war in Liberia. They will protest, they will burn places, but everybody afraid of war. So, for example, if Guinea want to go and fight war, we will tell you, when Guinea was starting their madness, we told them, we said, just look at Liberia. Just look at us, where we've been. We destroy our universities, our hospitals, all the few buildings that we have, and we say we will build it back. The mansion and all Eddie said you should go. She was going to build it back in 14 days or whatever days. See where we have come. After the war, we're still struggling to put infrastructure up. We're still struggling, our educational system, everything damaged. So within West Africa, I think we will be able to talk peace because they know how to be a peace abiding, people. We have tested the dirty war, we have tested everything, and we know the consequence. So when we want to talk peace, in any region in Africa, we just use our story. Just look at Liberia. If you want your country to be like us, struggling to be where we are, young population are left with no parents and no guardians, that are floating all in the street, are struggling with drugs. And the poverty, no job. People are just going helter scatter. You want your country to be like that, be my guest, go to war. But if you don't want to be like that, you want to settle it on the table, let's come to the table, let's discuss it, let's face things. You see, Guinea, when they put the president in jail, nobody going to go fight. Everybody came under the junta government. They dead, and he played in election. Okay, they know what work can do. So I think Liberia got a great. We got some story to share. We got the experience. We got the challenges to share, and we just need a personal representative to tell our story right, to use our story to just do what they have to do. But they have to be somebody who know our story, who will want to be able to share and be on top of the game. Research, prep yourself. When there's meeting coming up, be prepared. Know the agenda in advance and do your work. Not to have gathering all the states and then you forget meeting time. No, so I would prefer a woman to even be in that position. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but yes.
Yeah,
So, Mo,
and actually, what you just said, actually, what you just said, someone is just clapping for what you said because you know you need to really, and not like anybody can tell a story, but a story that encompasses the story of that will be that will relate to the African scene,
African
you know,
scene.
because that's what you're representing. This is what we did. This is what we went through. We got real stories,
Mm-hmm.
as you said. We got stories that people know
Real
is recorded.
stories.
We
Yeah,
got stories that we got evidence because in America we like proof.
yeah,
Liberia has good story and what how it relates to even the the United Nations Security Council
yes,
for peace. So we have the struggle, the challenges, and we have what we have the subject matter experts is what we're looking at.
yeah.
So who else wants to chime in before we go to the next question? I don't know whether those the folks whether there's anyone have heard any phone call. Maybe I made a mistake. I've not heard it. Mr. Wawo, have you heard any phone call?
I think the challenges they've been having, and we'll discuss later on, is in the future they want to,
Let's discuss it later on, please.
yeah, later on,
Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah.
they find it difficult to connect
So
us.
Now, care. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to quickly add to what Sister Nita just said. There is a symbolism to the votes that tend to occur on the Security Council. And it's possible with the world order as it is today, sooner rather than later, Liberia will be engaged and called upon to vote one way or another, right, at the higher level that impact some of the biggest conflicts that are going on in the world. And it's important to note that you have to have your ducks in a row. You have to have your strategic objective laid out to know which way you're going to align when it comes to voting on these major world issues that involve the superpowers of the world, right? The U.S., the Russias, the Chinas, and you name it. And we see today that Liberia, one can argue we're in bed with everybody, right? So we're in bed with China, Russia, the U.S., you name it, and it's all well and good if you know what you're doing, if you have a strategic direction. But when it comes to the Security Council, it becomes even more meaningful who you align with when it comes to those votes. And it's important to know what you stand for. So I am hopeful, right, that our government takes those things into consideration as well as we move forward, and whoever's going to represent us is prepared for when that time comes. Because what happens behind the scenes makes a difference. As symbolic as those votes are, there are some major things that happen behind the scenes to influence member countries voting one way or another, right? That could have significant economic impact to your nation, right? And how you use that clout can also benefit you economically. So, it, as simple as it may look, it's a very complex role, a very important role, and if we play our cards right, we can be impactful and gain some economic grounds as well for our nation and obviously all of Africa Um, and so I hope our administration is thinking along those lines. And we must remember this is a cyclical role. And so it's important that we perform well because what we do the next 2 years will determine if we ever make our way back to that seat in the future, right? So it's very important that we put forth our best foot in a meaningful way. So I just wanted to point that out.
Right.
Thank you so much. I want to go quickly to how prepared Liberia is diplomatically to
Mhm.
meet the demands and responsibilities of this membership. Someone's asking, are we prepared? I mean, first we lobby. I'm sure we lobby. We had a reason for lobbying, but are we prepared?
Well, for me, I would say I don't know whether that diplomatic engagement and networking has to be in a way that they will be taking for our national cover, because for us to get this position, they were lavishing our little money that's supposed to put Justin JFK out there. But if you have someone who is highly from, that's why I said I think the government will succeed if they pick somebody from the diaspora. I would say that we saw with Eddie Johnson selling, that we see with that we see Hakumi network is huge. That we need to take somebody from the diaspora who has worked in different corporations, who have the technical know-how, who know the people, who have good relationship, good records, who will actually gain everything that we need without us taking our petty cash that we take from the world bank for salary to come and bribe people, if you know what I mean. Because every time we lobby, millions and millions of dollars leave the Liberian people budget and go into somebody's pocket just for picking all the phone to call somebody. In grad school, my professor used to say, if you leave the class, you don't have any network, you're going to be passing around with your degree standing in Walmart. So networking without, if you don't have the network, you can't succeed in this the 21st century that we live in. You need to know the people that can make things to happen, not just anybody. So we need to look for people who normally they're out there, they're making names for themselves. Liberians are out there making some big news for themselves. People like that, if you get the position, it will be like they're providing service for their country. They want to help. So we need to look outside the box. We need to open our mind. Call on all Liberians to say, give us 5 names, give us people that are on the top there that are making name for themselves in the private world that can help us. If the government open like that, they will see a lot of people to send names, and people should not go buy this position again. Please do not cash out your 401k and go pay for this position just to see that other nation going to bribe you to bring their thing on the table. We want somebody that will actually be able to bring to us, not to take from us. You representing Africa, we want you to represent Africa in a way that you will shine as a Liberian, as a shining star. You will be able to represent all of West Africa, all of Africa, without you telling the Liberian government saying, we get that position, we need to shine. I need 500,000 to talk to the person, to talk to that person. No, the position not putting money in our pocket.
Exactly.
Do
Exactly.
not steal our money. Do not go bribe people with our little 2 cents that we need to face our government school. All our government public school in the country gone. No chair, no zinc, everywhere leaking, no teachers. We need to be focusing on that, and we will be a Liberia will have leaders for tomorrow. We need to be preparing those leaders now. But we actually have abandoned the young people and everybody trying to just focus on what they can eat. So it's about time that whoever go into that position, please do not take from us. You should already have your network built. You should understand diplomatic relationship. You should know people that your 2 phone calls can transform your roles. Come and take a position and help your country. We need you. But we don't have money for you to go buy some lawmaker in Congress for you to be able to meet with the other senator. You must spend 30 million just to go meet with Donald Trump. No, we don't want that, please. If we don't have
No,
something to give up, don't
Yes.
put your name on the list.
Yes.
some
Let,
someone just agree with you.
let me
Before you come in, Dr. Go, someone just agree with you because I think um is that 50 years of 30 years, 50 years ago or 40 years ago, um Liberians that came abroad to go to school had networking, they had international connection. But currently, we don't have that. That's why in the 60s and 70s, and when Toba was killed and all that, our connections were gone because, like, for instance, I don't think we like, there's a transition period where, for instance, you are the minister, you carry your deputy to introduce your deputy to all those meetings so that they can have that, build that same capacity, build that connection. So it's not happening currently. If I'm a minister, it's just me going, and I'm the only one going to represent the country. I think you can also build internally. The Liberians that are there, they have some very smart Liberians back home, highly educated, but I don't think they have been given the opportunity to represent Liberia, or maybe to go to these meetings with their ministers, to go to these meetings with these older folks that have been there too long, and they are stayed there. They go to the meetings alone. Some of them don't even attend the meetings. In those days that I know, when you even watch an old tape, you will see Liberian, if Liberia has not arrived at the meeting, or ECOWAS meeting, or the African Union meeting, the meeting has not started, because those days we have voice, we have representation, we have people that can speak to issues. But to me, when I look at now, I visited in the 2018, 2017, you go to some embassies, the people don't even, like, they don't even represent your country. To be frank with you, they don't represent your country. It's very poor, and they don't even have money to operate, and they're just there.
Very
So the
dusty.
representation is one thing. Building the capacity back home. For you are a minister, you see the strong, smart girl, especially for women, very smart, capable. They will not carry you to the meeting. They either want you to love to you,
Yes.
and they carry you to the meeting, or you stay there, they don't build your capacity. Or if you're a young boy, you got to be related to their cousin before they can take you. And that is what we need to work on. They have educated, highly educated people back home, but they are not being given the opportunity. And yes, a position cannot make you. I always tell people, a position cannot make you. You have to be made with the favor of God, then you go in the position, because it's a give and take. You bring in something and you getting something. You cannot go to any position, you say the position will make me without having anything. You will not even pass the interview. So that's the whole thing about Liberia. We need to look internally. They got educated, smart young women, very smart, highly educated, very smart young men, but they are not being given the opportunities to demonstrate their capacity, demonstrate their skill set, what they've learned. And we have people here that are educated, very educated, not only in the United States, but in the diaspora. But they are not even selected because some of them are not even in politics. They don't want to be bothered with politics. Some of them are not in politics. But how can the government come together to build the database of these subject matter experts and be able to utilize their services? Because this is not like for Liberia to be built. Look at Dr. Collins, a young man. He wrote a poem, Glorious Day Will Come. But at the end of the day, this glorious day is here. But what are we lacking? And someone just stated,
We don't
is that
prepare for it.
Liberia full of tribalism, Liberia full of
Yes.
tribalism.
Everybody protect their
If
own
you
criminal.
Yes,
Mhm.
in this, I will speak for the LCA here, the Liberian community here. I remember my uncle used to tell me in the 70s when they were here, they had the Liberian community. I've forgotten the name, but they didn't have county association. Right now, we have county association, and the community as a whole is competing with those various association, the high school, the university association. Everyone is competing. So if the community come together as a whole, the community is not gaining. Because if I want to become a president for Cathedral Alumni Association, who takes that coming? Or a part of the Broadway Association, as you spending money all around. So that's the problem with us. And right now, it is hard. So how can we have a representation outside of this whole group and structure that we form And then we have a lot of churches built. I mean, I think if we check the Liberian small churches, I think we got more churches that are small, minute churches, more than all the Africans in America. I can speak to that. We got a lot of small churches because why? The person got their own church, the other person got their own church. The people were Baptists yesterday, Methodists, Catholics, but now they're in the church. You know? So at the end of the day, how will we even bring those subject matter experts together? How will Liberia, how will the president know who are the subject matter experts? Is to build some capacity database, not only in the diaspora, but also in Liberia. They got young people that are smart, like the young adult for peace chapter in Liberia. Those are young, smart young people, but I don't know whether they're being utilized.
The
So you
challenge,
see,
one of the
go ahead.
challenges is
There's a
the
call in here.
the president, Joseph Boakai will tell you if you coming from the people that coming from the United States, he can say surprise package, strange package. He call you a conquer. But this position, if we get our mindset away that this person is not part of my tribe, this person don't know the native people. This is not about native. This is not about knowing about Mano Gio, Pere. This is not it. So, for example, we had Dr. Antoinette Saye that worked with our entire life with the World Bank. We all know, I think that according to her will remember, she was finance minister, right? When she went on the Eddie Johnson said, what did she say? That people wasteful, corruption. She packed her bag and left. So maybe person like that would be good in this position because she will not be wasteful. She had a network, she got the experience. They all in the international field, and she got strong network. But again, they will not get away around her because she will not be the one to take bribe. She will not be the one that you want her to push your propaganda when she don't have facts. So it will be difficult to work with. That that the challenge there. But if you want to get real results, somebody that will do the work, somebody that will represent you with transparency, accountability, and deliver that to Antoinette side will be one of the best that we can put forth for this position.
And I agree with you. Any comment?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I really, yeah, thank you all so much. I'll just sit here just listening to everything we have to say, especially as it relates to having a lot to work with. And we all believe that Liberia, we have got a lot, from our homeland back home, in our diaspora community. We have the intellect. We have people who has that willpower to really represent us, and that will bring pride to us as a nation, and one of Africa's oldest republic, and to really redeem us. Liberia, we've got a lot, but just like you said, is very, very pathetic that people will have this knowledge, people will have this willpower, they will have the intellect, they will have the passion, they will have the love to do these things for Liberia, but they are not giving the space. I cannot tell you, enough how frustrating it is. I have my own story. I work with a lot of young Liberian students, a group, and a young professional who have traveled outside of Liberia, came to the diaspora in different countries, studying abroad. They have gone back home to Liberia to do research, to collect data. They walk away being very frustrated, about the role they have to play. I have my own share story that we will discuss another day, but it's very much sorry for and all that people will go through these things, and I feel like now it is a wake up call for Liberia. For example, like you have these things that you will reach out. When I wrote that poem, I just 2024 when I wrote that poem, I, I requested a radio station in Liberia to just share that poem with them. Nobody gave me ear. The Spoon Network, all the guys, I texted them, hey, I was in the middle of my dissertation. I wrote this poem, though. I took like over a whole weekend from work just to read it because I was thinking that came from my dream. I was dreaming about that poem, So when I woke up, I like, I got to give this some time. So when I came up with that, I posted that. But most of the platform I reached out to share this, nobody ever gave me audience. I just posted on my social media. I also posted on my LinkedIn, and I left it there. That was it. But that's just to tell you how people, a lot of people, are doing a lot out there that could benefit Liberia. Want to get back home. Some are not really privileged to have the opportunity, to really give back. When you come here, you even reach out to our leaders for them to really recognize. When I went to that Ghanaian embassy thing, I wrote a long email. And if anyone here is very close to the ambassador here, Dr. Conan, I'm ready to talk to him. I wrote an email message to the Liberian embassy, I think since April 22nd when I went to that meeting, sharing all of that with him. I'm yet to get a response from for that. I placed some calls there. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Somebody showed me the Liberian. One of my professors showed me the Liberian embassy here in Washington D.C. And I thought I was going to reach that, but these things are very much important for our young people growing up who has this burning desire to transform our country. We have we have got a lot in our country, and we have seasoned politicians, we have seasoned international experts from Liberia that are capable to really move us forward as it relates to our representation. But it is up to our government. I'm really looking forward to see what the government can do. Uh, I was happy when the president announced the whole participation of the Liberian diaspora community. Last year when I went in Liberia, I part of a conference the Liberian diaspora community. There was a conference to them welcoming them back home. But I feel also this is our time to really empower our representation on the global stage. We were talking about challenges. Most of our diplomats out there in Tampa, financial constraint has become their problem. They are not even being well supported by the government. So all of these things need to change if we really want to represent Liberia and move forward. Not just us again, like we say, all of us saying here, this representation is not just for Liberia. This representation is for Africa. It's for other socio-economic, other country, in a sense, socio-economic development status like us, developing countries around the world. But it is time for us to really put ourselves together as a country and push the legacy that we know that Liberia is capable of doing. Because I believe, like every one of you, we have got a lot, but we just need to work with what we have. And I can really talk about that working with what we have because that was the theme for my dissertation. We speak to the adaptability and resilience of faculty in Liberia, teaching in the classroom, despite the challenges, right? So I think we got a lot to do, Liberia, and it's really up to us to hit the road running and to work with what we have.
Yeah, and then thank you so much. Someone just saying that this particular election, so has really it has become like a concern, and some Liberians are really thinking about who we are. Like thinking about where are we going. We have been elected. People are really thinking now, like thinking out of the box, thinking about different situation, economic situation. The the young adults in Liberia. So people are thinking about this, and I'm hoping that because President Bouaka just came on, but he was vice president during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf era, and so he's experienced. So he's not like new, like the first time Opon became president. So he's a seasoned VP, should be, and I'm hoping that some of these areas, the various sectors, especially for the young people, because when the young people when they complete their education, and we prepare them for this kind of position in the future, we need to be able to better prepare them. So having said that, I think you guys have done very well in discussing this, taking a look at it. And I think based on the questions that were not asked during this particular discussion, we prepared, we did everything necessary. But I think we have a next step, meaning the next discussion will be on this. And we'll also give you, Dr. Collins, the opportunity to discuss your plan and, for us to share it and discuss it so people can know what you've done and how it relates to some of these achievements. You foresaw this coming, and you say glorious days will come. We wanted to also invite what's her name, the sweet Liberia, land of liberty. What's her name? The lady that sang,
Maroon Cassell.
Ambassador Marian Cassell. We wanted to invite her because she also sang about Liberia's victory. Uh, 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 Liberia, the land of liberty, that kings and queens will call upon or come to Liberia, something like that. I'm not, relaying it the facts because I forgot the song, but I think it also relates to this particular glorious days to come, and one of it is achieving to be a non, being elected as a non permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. So we're gonna go around,
Hey,
and the
Madam
purpose of
Chair.
going around. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we go around, if you don't mind, I just want to piggyback quickly on the last question. First, I want to say to Dr. Vey, uh, we can't give up, keep hope alive. Um, we just got to keep pressing on. Life is short, and we just have to bring the urgency of now to our situation and keep pressing on despite the challenges. Um, to the question about do we have a qualified person or where would that person come from? I, I mean, the answer for me is a resounding yes. We have people across the globe that are qualified, Liberians across the globe that are qualified. There are those, as you spoke to, Madam Kier, who have chosen to sit in the back and remain quiet and just live out the rest of their life peacefully. But there are others who are eager to go back and make a difference, but require some type of coalition with the government or the powers that be on the ground to make that happen. And within country, I agree there are a number of highly skilled and qualified people. So I think the resources um, are there, right? The challenge is finding the right person and all right people or group of people. And that's why we have government. That's why we have leadership, right? That's part of the challenge to reach out and find those best and brightest and bring them to bear, give them the tools and the room to function right effectively and efficiently. I submit to you that we have a number of Liberian millionaires living in these diaspora, especially in the United States. And they just choose to live out their life quietly and not get involved in politics and
Mhm.
what have you. But I think it's incumbent upon good leadership to seek out these people where they are and try to convince them, to come back and invest. Make it enticing for them to come back to their home country and invest. And I submit to you, it shouldn't be that difficult of a thing to do, especially if the person calls Liberia home, if that's where they were born. Okay, to me, you have an ace in the bag to convince someone to go back to their native home and invest. And lastly, I would say leadership is what's missing. I don't subscribe to the fact that someone uh, is an expert in one field or another or has this broad worldview. That means they are the right person. That person must be a good leader. That person must be able to summer and get people to uh, come together and get things done. That person will be someone who people can identify with, can listen to, right, and respect. And so we have a lot of qualified people, but do we have a lot of qualified leaders? I think that's going to be key for this role and just about any role going forward that will move our country forward into the 21st century. We have to approach all of these things. I know we're focusing on this role, but we know, the elephant in the room again is Liberia as a whole, and how far we are from being a developed nation. All right, we have a whole generation of people, young people, that are seeking a future that could really impact where Liberia stands in the next 20, 30, 40 years, that we need to look at and bring, with an urgency, bring them into the educated and developed world in terms of their knowledge base. If this country is going to stand on its 2 feet in the future, you know, we are, those of us on this call are well approaching our later years, right? Those young people, they're going to be the ones things going to fall back on.
Mhm.
If we don't give them a chance, if we don't provide the means for them to improve themselves, pray tell me where Liberia will be. So I hope as we look at all of these things, remember that there is a almost lost generation there to be saved, and that everything we do, we include them in our discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. While you were talking, someone just put a comment on my phone. It's like they're saying that how would the president even know who the bright and brightest are when he comes? He don't meet with the Liberian people. He only meet with his partisan. So that's why this comment someone just sent on my phone. Uh, because if the vice president come to visit, I think you should visit your people. The president come, they should visit their people. Because when you visit your people and that party and that tribe and that county, then you're visiting the Liberians, then you will get to know everything. I think if a president come, they want to visit. We got 4 regions in America: East, West, and South, right? If you come into the Eastern region, let the people know that you come into the Eastern region. Let them know where the town hall meeting is going to be called ahead of time. So Liberians will take off regardless of partisan and come and ask you questions, provide information. And that meeting should be recorded so that you put a think tank group that will listen to some of those things and compile some good strategies, some good projects for you to look at and have that. And then the next time the vice president or some representation come, they go to the West Coast or the East, the Eastern region or Western region and visit. So that what the president and person was just making their comment. Because how will you know what is in your country if you in Liberia, you only visit Lofa County? What about the other county? What about Bassa? What about putting those counties? So this person comment makes sense. So how well will you know your children are doing well in class if you don't talk to them? You just come, you take your bag, you go upstairs, change your clothes, come downstairs, eat, and go sleep. And next day you get in your car, you go. You don't know what is happening in your house. So I think that's another gap there, and that's a comment from somebody on my phone. Because they are concerned Liberian and they want to they want to think Liberia because the president said it. We need to think Liberia. I think it was from President, our presidential candidate Cummings that stated that. Think Liberia, love Liberia, and stuff like that. So we
No,
need to
it's Joseph
send.
Baka. It's Joseph Baka.
Oh yeah, Joseph Waka, yes. Thank you for the correction. So we need to visit the various regions in Liberia, all the universities that are there, and then come in the diaspora, do the same thing. So we just want to say thank you so much for this comment. The person said I shouldn't call the name anyway. So I want to say thank you for that comment because it's very important that when you come to this country to visit, and the last time I can say Yula visited Liberia. For you to, when people come here, we embrace them, we respect them. Everybody want to go and take a picture and be and listen. But
It
when
just,
we go to Liberia, it's different. Nobody want even
it just,
talk to you. I,
it just.
I always tell people, opposition will not make you. You should already be made, and as Mrs. Cannon said, linked, network, be important before you go take important position. So when you go to Liberia, the people want to talk to you. In fact, you got to introduce yourself and call your name before even they know you. It's difficult. It's a difficult situation. The position will never make you. You have to have that grace on your life and being highly connected before you can make the position. And that's where we are lacking here. So we're praying that the person that will be elected, like Dr. Collins, you are a networker. So that's your area. Trust me. Dr. Collins, I'm telling you, you move. This guy just came and he's just all around because he will know what he wants to get. And that's important. Networking is important. Very important. So I don't know. The time is you want to say anything quickly, Eddie?
Yeah. Just to add to that networking thing you were saying, right? That's one of the skills that Joseph Bakar is lacking because Joseph Bakar worked with Eddie Justice Eddie for 12 years. Joseph Bakar came here to meet Barack Obama. Joseph Bakar went to the White House. He saw Michelle Obama, Barack Obama. He meet, high level senior official in the United States government. And all over the world, he traveled. He was now a packer that he claimed because he did not have tangible to show during the election to say, okay, what did you achieve? Probably the office did not document it or nothing was done. People were just traveling to take part down or whatever, but we could not see any tangible. So he just say, I will pack. And partisans say, the Constitution is their position. You don't have to do nothing. And again, if Joseph Bakar himself had that network, the government will not be struggling right now. Barack Obama could make things happen with one phone call for him because the people that he sat with, he had lunch with. But and a lot of Liberians struggle with it. We only need people when we want to use them, and you feel it, you dash them. We don't follow up. We don't check on people. We quit to forget what someone has done for us. Today, you want something from this person. You call them, you nice, you check on them. As soon as they give it, boom, you look for your next victim. It is something that all of us struggle with. But again, we can learn it when you want to learn it because there's a lot of benefit here for it. In the United States, if you don't know nobody, trust me, you finish. Especially in the corporate world. And the Americans are good at that, knowing somebody like a turn things around for them. From leadership downward, Liberia don't have it. The only person now we have that know that still have network, but her one foot in the grave is Eddie Justice Elite. So how will she pass on all those network for us? How can who will she introduce there that will not be back and say, please fill the House of Representative chamber for us, man. The chair the expo and this thing, even though I get $5 million budget, the speaker begging around to face his chamber. Eh? How can we have a network that will not be begging for him out every day, but we will ask them to connect our country to something good? Ellie just got it. She about to go to the grave for it, though. Just a few people that know some of her people. How can we make use of that? She destroyed the country. She need to get something back. How can we get it from her? Eddie know them. Eddie still coming into this White House. Joe Biden White House. She was sitting here. She was sitting at the United Nations talking to the UN Secretary General for the United States. Her name, the Lena Greenfield. She had all the network. She know everybody that she want to know, but she want to go to the grave with it. And because of to tie Eddie to get all network, we have to, so we can take our country to the next level. That the only Liberian I know that has tons of network. That anything she wants, she can get it with one phone call. But is she willing to share it? When she share it, how are we willing to use her network? Are we just going to use it for our own selfish gain? How are we going to do it? So that we say all hands on deck, they need to bring all the bright minds. If Eddie had to make the calls for her, we need to. Because right now she can go anytime. So we need to make use of it. We need to make use of it as soon as possible. Whatever she did that they cancel all Liberian debt in her administration, she need to do it now so they can cancel ours. Because CDC credit a lot and this government just adding to the debt deficit. So we actually in the trash can right now. We need her to fix all of that. Because everything that we have, all the laws, everything that say give lawmaker 50,000 to go visit the people, buy lawmaker gas slip, get lawmaker car, pay away to visit her girlfriend. She wrote all of that. She passed that. It was under her leadership. So she the one brought the job bucket like leaking, that sucking everything out of Liberia. She need to fix it before she die. She need to correct her wrong.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kane. Thank you very much. I'm hoping that all the meetings that she goes to, UN meeting, that she's taking some young men and vibrant young men and women with her, and introducing them, because I think she has her own foundation. So I'm hoping that that foundation too will not be selfish. They'll be able to share, because networking is all to it. If you don't have it, you can know all the book and be educated. You're not a networker. You're not going to get any. But you're going to get a corporate job. Trust me.
I know.
Anyway, having said that, I would like. I mean, this is very, very interesting today, and this is so interesting. But taking a look at Liberia's recent election as a non-permanent United Nations Security Council member, having discussed the aspect of it, looking at the historical perspective, and looking at the peace building capacity of Liberia, looking at the fact that looking at our capacity and resources, challenges, our peacekeeping contribution to the world and the experience that should have positioned us with documented and having some presentation to the world that should position us better to have gotten this job, as Dr. Collins stated rightly. Looking at our prospects and our challenges ahead, looking at the priority issues and looking at the agenda that we have based on the African, our continent's agenda, aligning it with the Security Council's agenda, looking at how Liberia was elected, our diplomatic strategies, the processes that were used for Liberia to be elected, how we campaign, everything that Liberia did to get its position. And what does this position mean to Liberia? How significant what does it mean? After all these deliberations, let's go around the table, this platform, to what do we want for people to take away, to remember when they are speaking to this issue? Oh, we're elected. And what I want, it will 4-hour pocket, it put rest on my table. So these are some of the things people are saying. What does it really mean for us to be there? They now use all our money. All those kind of Liberian saying. What do you as a panelist today, what do you want for people to take away, to remember, to rebrand Liberia, to know that Liberia has done better? Liberia has built peace, and the subject matter expert when it comes to conflict resolution, conflict prevention, and I think a lot of things Liberia have done. So what do you want for people to take away when they are talking about this election to this UN council? What do you want for them to take away? Because I think the next time we come back here, we want to really look at what we did 64 years ago correctly, and how we got there, and comparing and contrasting as to what this is all about. What can we come up with as a proposal, a documentation written to send to the president as our part of contribution on this platform? So it's something that we need to be thinking about. And I'm really glad that we have additional members too on this platform, and we all can work together and do it better. So let's talk about what should people take away, and how we're going to come up with our own proposal from our discussion, to compare, to really write down what we did and what we can do now based on our election.
Madam
We'll start with
go first, because I have another meeting.
We'll start with you. You can go first. Yeah, quickly.
Very quickly.
Yes, briefly.
Very briefly. Well, I think we have done well. In conclusion, from my part, Liberia's participation in the United Nations Council is very significant opportunity for us, because it will contribute to global peace and security, while also will be promoting our own interests or national interests. And by doing this, I can safely say we need to look at peacekeeping, African representation, the maritime security, and everybody have said this. I just want to repeat it myself. Women leadership in Liberia. And this will help us to demonstrate a commitment that will bring about global governance and diplomacy. So ultimately, Liberia as a nation, we need to promote stability. We can't go out there when our buyer is not stable. We can't
Okay.
go out there, and if we cannot solve our own little problem, we got to bring down our capital building. And we can't go out there to represent the African country if the government is divided. For instance, executive on one side, judicial on one side, legislators on one side. And we take about 9 to 10 months to just discuss internal problem, and we cannot solve the problem that we were elected for. If that's the way we're going to go, I'm sorry that we will not make it. But once we can put our act together and be very firm with what we think we can do and do it well, and get the person to do the job, again, I want to repeat myself, and get the person to do the job, because the scenario in Liberia and the insinuation and all the guesses have been people want to put people there that will fulfill their interest. This position is not about fulfilling, I'm sorry to say this, the VP interest. It's not about fulfilling Joseph Newman Waka interest. It's not about fulfilling Unity Party interest and undercutting George Weah, because in my own mind, the whole thing started years back. So this is not a gain for the Unity Party. It is a gain for Liberia, and we must work towards it. Thank you very much, madam. And
Thank you so much. Just you can wait for us. 5 minutes will be finished. We'll go quickly to Mr. Felix. What do you
Thank
want
you,
people
Madam
to take
Chair,
away from this
fellow
discussion?
panelists. It was great sharing this platform with you. One thing that was not discussed, and I would say quickly, is how we received the news of our selection to this. I thought the celebration was, in my opinion, uncalled for. I think Liberia is at a place where we need all hands on deck, and everything should be a business approach to how we move forward and demonstrating the urgency of now. And, a good handshake and congratulations around the room would have been sufficient. All of the partying and stuff, I thought was overkill. And just add again, in my opinion, misinformation to the entire process, because you put more pressure on you to your people. They see this type of celebration and think, oh my God, we've hit the gold mine, right? And in 2 years, they're going to be asking, well, what were we celebrating about? What did we gain from this? So, we have to be cautious how we approach these types of, what do you call it,
Achievement.
opportunity, if you will. But again, everybody has said it. I think it's a great place for the country to be. Again, I think we need to provide someone who is a true leader to represent us. And as we move forward, I like to borrow from a Dr. Arthur McMahon, who is a mentor, a church member, and a friend. He likes basketball, and he follows LeBron James, and his thing is, whatever you do, be great at it, right? And I think I wanted to leave on that note to our government, our people, even our local leaders. Whatever we do, especially when it comes to representing the nation that is Liberia, we must be great at it. Because if we're not, then we're just fooling ourselves. So thank you. God bless.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll go quickly to Dr. Collins. They.
Yes, thank you very much. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time with all these incredible panelists, and I really feel honored. Thank you, Liberian View, for the opportunity. I really want to speak to the conscience of all Liberians, and especially our government officials and leaders. I feel like we have a story that predates many nations. Our legacy is not just history. It's a platform. What Liberia has gone through, who we are as a nation in Africa, is not just a history. And everything things we have done in past, is not just history. It's a platform, and I think the world needs that. Like, I'm not a good historian, or not a historian, let me just say that. But the little history of Liberia that I know, and when I had the opportunity to really share with people, about our story, our resilience from the Civil War, and how we are rebuilding from the impact of the Civil War. People really see that Liberia has something to offer to the world. That we are not just beggars. We have something that the world needs, and that is in our DNA. Is our resilience. We do not give up. We rise up to the occasion. Everything that happened like 20 years ago, we still stand our ground, and here we are today doing what is needed. We back again. We have a generation right now that is not afraid to ask questions. They are leading. Young people are leading with purpose. They have passion for Liberia to really transform our country. And the thing I want to really say, just to one of the questions that you asked, if we are prepared, I really feel that today reminds us that Liberia does not need to wait for perfection to lead. We do not need to wait until we are 100% prepared to lead. We have already leading. We are already leading right now with by showing our resilience, the peace and unity. For me, I felt very happy when I saw the joyous celebration across Liberia from every different political party to the young people, what it means. I think growing up our generation seeing this representation really shows that Liberia is not just a beggar. This is an opportunity for us to show that we are not just beggar, but we also can be a solution to the world's problem. And we should embrace this position, like we have said today, embrace this position. And our leaders should really take this opportunity to see how we can rewrite our story and bring back that glorious day, that I talk about in that poem, but to also give true meaning to what it is to be a Liberian, or what we have to really offer. I feel like our history, speaks for us, and it is time for us to really work back things and hit the road running and really represent our own West African region so that they can be proud of us. This is a time for us to really engage into diplomatic relationship at the global stage. I see this as an opportunity. Despite our socio-economic development challenges, I see this as an opportunity, golden opportunity to really pitch us there. And that's why we all agree that we need qualified people. If we have the right people to lead this, we will have an agenda to take to the United Nations, an agenda that we all know selfishly will be for Liberia, but also will speak to the countries in Africa that also we are representing, and also other countries around the world. And I say that it is time for us to really work, and our government should really listen, put aside partisan, bring together our young diaspora and the community to engage into these think tank ideas, and see how we can all work together, work with what we have until what we have is enough to lead Liberia in the global community. Thank you all very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll pass on quickly to Mrs. Kane to tell us, anyone that will be listening after this discussion, what should they take away from this discussion?
Oh, I'm on mute. Okay. I mean, everything we have discussed here today, we discussed the benefit of being on this non-permanent seat. We said if we Liberian, as we are on now on a non-permanent seat, we're going to be influencing global security decision making. We're going to be engaging people diplomatically around the globe. We're going to be building network. We're going to be talking about. We're going to be influencing the permanent member decisions. So we're like, are we prepared to do so? How are we going to do that? And what was the objective of the government when they were pursuing this, this seat? So to do so, we also suggested that we all agree as a team that If we're sending somebody to represent or to make all those decisions, to build those diplomatic relationship, we don't want a partisan, we don't want OSA, we don't want CDC muya muya. We want a Liberian who has the network, who know the technical know-how to present themselves on the international stage, who will not be there and be talking about, oh, Nigeria, you want to talk about the kidnapping thing in your country? Okay, my man, give me 25,000, I'll put it on the floor. No, we don't want you. We want somebody that will go there, even though you're not a Nigerian, but what's happening in Nigeria is happening to you because you're African. You want to be able to tell Africa's story and even tell your own Liberian story. You don't want to be sitting there and be selling this our position that we spend how many million to lobby for to get. We don't want you to use it to just be another government position that you can use to make yourself popular, like you can use to get many girlfriend or many boyfriend. We want you to use it wisely. Africa supply a lot of natural resources out to the West. We are overlooked. We are not presented. We are not respected. We are not even on a part of their G7, their G1. But when we say we want to close our nation for you to not extract our gold and diamond, you come and put sanction on us. It's not for you. We want to change the narrative. We want to be able to have a voice. We want to be respected. So somebody that's going to go here to represent us, we say the person too should respect themselves. The person too should already have a network. The person should be somebody that people will respect. We don't want you to go to the seat and your naked picture flowing on Facebook. No, we don't want that. We don't want you to go. Yes, we have a IMO representative right now in London who naked picture all over the place. We don't want that. We want somebody who will go represent us, somebody that will be highly respected. Because when they call your name, they call Liberia. You're going there for Liberia, for West Africa, and we want the best of best to go there. And as a country, we need to craft our strategy. We need to craft our plan that person going to be implementing. We should not just leave them. And when they wake up from sleep today, wherever they wake up with, that's what they go with. No, they need to have an agenda. They need to achieve our goal as a continent. So we need to work behind the scene with that person, prep that person as they step on the stage, they step there to shine, and it will reflect on us as a continent. That's what we discussed. And I want to say thank you, everyone. It was
Yeah.
fun and it was nice.
I think this was great, and we want to take this time again. This is the Liberian view. I think you all heard that, like, Africa needs a voice, and now that voice is through Liberia. And our representation would be someone that is one of the brightest of the brightest, and that we should have an agenda, craft an agenda, looking at the agenda of the position, and it should be someone that can speak to issues, knowledgeable, versed in African affairs, and then versed in also in various continents, knowing what the challenges are, comparing and contrasting, coming up with looking at the existing situation, uh, generating gap analysis, and compare, contrast, and come up with the gaps, and then after that come up with recommendations to the United Nations, because you have to position yourself, study, read to show yourself approved. So, and Dr. Collins rightly stated, Liberia does not have to be 100% perfect, you know, because God takes us as we are. However, you should be educated and knowledgeable. You have to read the Bible to know the word. So you have to read and understand your position, speak to your position. So when if someone asks you who you be looking for, expecting to represent you or is representing you, these are some of the things that you should take away from here. And then also someone that can tell Liberian story, because you have to be able to tell your story before you tell the African, the continent story that you represent. If you cannot tell your story, speak to your story to be bought and being able to reach people to listen, then you're not right for this position. So we also talk about whatever you do, according to Mr. Felix was saying, that you should be great at what you do. Whatever, if you're sweeping, be a great sweeper. If you're a cook, be the great tailor, be the great. If you're a politician, you're a researcher, you're an engineer, you're a public policy analyst, be that best a lawyer. Be good at what you say you can do. Don't take a position that you can't speak to, that when you go to these conferences, you just zip and sit down. So that's what we're talking about here. And also, I think Dr. Collins said our legacy is not history, it is our platform. How can we manage and line that platform to be able to sell to other people for them to buy our know our platform. How can we use that platform to reimagine Liberia? What are we doing? Do we have the think tank group, as Mr. Wilson said, to do that? And I think Mrs. Kane also spoke to that. And also, what really interests me is this: that Liberians are not beggars, that we have something to offer. So if you are going, or you are already in that position, you're being elected, I don't know whether that has been done, I don't know. But we're going to come back to discuss. We are not beggars. We have resources. You have to even look at the maritime issue, because that's a United Nations issue, maritime. What are we doing with it? What are we doing the fundings? How are we managing it? All those kind of things. So we have something to offer at every level of the world. The world's agenda, we have something to offer. But do we know how to present what we have to offer? So those are things that we need to be thinking, not only for this particular UN position, but for yourself as a Liberian, wherever you're sitting, whatever you're doing, do it well and know it, understand it, be able to speak to it. So again, this is the Liberian View. Want to take this time to say thank you for listening. Our Facebook, our family members, our YouTube members, and we want to say this is what we have to offer. We hope that this was very helpful. We know that we had the I believe JTV that should have been airing this. I know after the discussion they will air it anyway, because it will be on the platform. They will play it for 1 hour 30 minutes. There are 2 days in a week, and also they will develop we're going to have a synopsis of the discussion being published in the newspaper. These are things that we work on, and we've like giving some things for it. We're hoping that will be worked out. But for the next time we're going to come, I'm hoping that we can really deeply come up with some recommendation, from this discussion. Some, we build a framework, a structure on recommendation. I think we are looking at doing that. We know there are a lot of holidays coming in, so we want to be respectful of the holidays. I will send in three Sundays, because I think we have 4 Sundays in the month of July. We have the 6th, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th. We don't operate on the 6th. We always want to discuss like on the 20th of the month, the 20th, which is the 3rd Sunday. So that's what we're looking at, and we're going to be discussing, looking at it in reviewing it, especially what we achieved during during 1961. What did we achieve? Because we need to outline what we achieved and come up with some proposal. Some are very good things that we achieved, and we are a proud people. We contributed to the world economic. We contributed to the world safety, the world freedom. We did a lot of stuff. So we need to really write that, so that, because sometimes people don't think what they are doing unless they jot it down and say, wow, I did all this. So we need to do that, and then we can call it, and then also take into consideration questions that should have been asked and were asked, and the TV station will also transmit those questions, and we'll be able to answer it, and we'll be best prepared for people to call in, because I think this time we were not. So I want to say thank you to our listener, and again, this is Liberian View. Please have a nice week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Let me